Okay, here's a look at FansToys FT-57 tube, which is their version of a masterpiece scaled Autobot pipes. So first, as always, let's take a quick look at the box. So here is the front of the box with a really nice artwork there of pipes or tubes. And back of the box, you get your typical product images and the accessory it comes with, which is really nice, and the bio that you can pause and read there if you're interested in reading what that has to say. The side of the box, FT-57 tube, the other side the same thing. Top of the box, artwork of the alt mode and the QR code you can scan if you want, and the bottom the same thing. So that's a quick look at the box. And now here is the figure, but let's go ahead and go over the accessories that it comes with. So first of all, he does come with a couple of extra heads and faces. So we get a toy version of Pipe's head, which is cool. So here you can see compared to the original toy version. So it has that nice red visor. And I like how it's a transparent red plastic, so that's cool. And then you do get the alternative eyes. So this one's red, which is cool. Over here I have I swapped out for the blue eyes. So whatever your preference is, because both of these are both cartoon accurate. And then he also comes with this really nice transformation cog, which is nicely sculpted with the transparent orange. And the cool thing about it is that it actually rotates with a nice clickety sound, so that's really cool compared to Bad Cube's version, which is bigger, nicely sculpted, but you know, FansToys just sort of said anything you could do, we could do better. So yeah, this is kind of cool. So that's what you get with in terms of accessories. And then we also get the bio card, which of course is my favorite, other than the fact that it's forever going to be in this credit card shape, because this is really hard to read the bio unless you zoom in here and pause and read that if you're interested in seeing what that has to say. But you do get nice product images there, robot mode, the alt mode, and the tech spec. So that's really nice, my favorite. And then, of course, the instructions. And again, I said many times I like how FansToys does the instruction booklet. So it makes it really nice that you can open it up, see the contents, what you get. And let's just go over some of the instructions of transformation, because what I want to say is, in terms of transformation, this is actually a fairly easy, intuitive, straightforward transformation, but there are issues with this figure that I'll point out later, which has to do with tolerance and stuff like that. But very simple transformation. Okay. And the back just explaining just how to swap out the head and the little rotating feature and the QR code. So that's a look at all the accessories, the instructions, the bio card. So now let's take a closer look at the figure. Let's come up here and appreciate all the nicely cartoon accurate sculpted detail. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and do this first. Let's compare this with the animation model so we can see how well they captured the cartoon aesthetics. And for the most part, they did a really nice job capturing all the details. And I can tell you, I'm very familiar with what the details are on pipes, because I did my own study drawing of pipes, so I'm very aware of all these details. They did a really nice job. So let's come back here, take a closer look at the head and articulation. So first of all, you could see I swapped out for the blue eyes because he's an Autobot. And the head, you can't really articulate it unless you bring it down. And you could rotate it here on this universal, so it's kind of cool. But articulating it when it's up here is a little hard because it's kind of boxed in. And then the shoulders, they can go out to the side a little bit. The tire's in the way. They can go front and back. And if you want, you can drop down the tire so you can get more articulation. I don't think that's what that's for. I actually think it's part of the transformation to make manipulating it a little easier. But then you get bicep swivel, and here you could see this is the issue. It's so loose here because on this side there's more friction tension here. So yeah, that's throughout this figure. There's issues with the tolerance, but you also get elbow joint here on a pin, which unfortunately you can't tighten it because there's no way to get in there to screw it. You do get wrist rotation, and the hand does open up, so that's kind of cool. Would have been nice if they would have put some lights in there. And then down here, the waist, you do get waist rotation. I think it would have been better if they would have made it ratcheted, because when you transform it into vehicle mode, it's not going to roll right because it's unless you get this all straightened out. So this is where I think a ratcheted waist would have been very useful. But you also get a ab crunch, which is really nice, and then the legs do go up and down on a really nice clickety ratchet. They do go out to the side on friction. They do rotate, and then the knees are on a really tight joint here. Again, the tolerance issues. And you do get an ankle rocker and a tiny bit of a toe tilt up. Like, well, first of all, if I pulled out the foot, you do get a tiny toe tilt up, but that's pretty much it. And again, yeah, there's a lot of issues with the tolerance there. Some areas are tight, some areas are loose, but in terms of articulation, it's a, your standard amount of articulation, which is really nice. And yeah, you can get some really nice dynamic poses out of it. It holds really well. It feels very solid, typical FansToys premium type figure. So there's a lot of great things about this figure. So now let's just do some other comparisons here once I can get them straightened out with some of the other figures by FansToys. So season 3 mini bots. So here is their Outback. So here you can see what these two guys look like together, and that looks really nice. And this is just creating that anticipation for the rest of season 3 mini bots, such as their swerves, which really looking forward to getting hopefully this year. And then FansToys did not announce that they are making a tailgate. So currently what we have is the tailgate by X-Transbots, and this is the toy version with the white legs instead of the metallic silver legs for the toy version. And man, there's just so many issues with this, such as the pin here instead of a screw, so trying to get this to stand is a little bit difficult. But as of right now, this is the current masterpiece version of tailgate that we have, and you could see how he scales, and he's obviously too small, so we definitely need one by FansToys. And most likely FansToys is going to make their version along with Wheelie eventually after they make their Ultra Magnus and other figures. But anyways, that's a look at some of the other figures. So now let's compare this with some of the other versions of pipes. Okay, so here's a look at all the pipes in my collection. So here is the current FansToys Masterpiece version of pipes, Bad Cube, X-Transbots, Hasbro mainline retail from the War for Cybertron Kingdom, I think. And then here is the Mech FansToys version, which is really nice, that I'm actually using instead of for the War for Cybertron collection instead of the official mainline retail. Here's the previous mainline retail, and here's the Chug version and the original G1, and really looking forward to getting the mini masterpiece by New Age. So there's just a look at the other previous versions, and yes, there is a another version by Iron Factory, but there are reasons why I didn't get it. Doesn't really look cartoon accurate in his alt mode. But yeah, here's just a quick look, and so let's just go over just a couple of things. So here, FansToys, the accessories, you could see that you do get the toy version head and an alternative red eyes instead of the blue eyes. So both are technically cartoon accurate, it's just what your preference is. And the transformation cog, which is really nice because it's a real working feature. You could rotate it. And interestingly, it's the same with the Bad Cube, so it's almost like FansToys just did the same thing Bad Cube did, but did it a little bit better. Because this one, even though it's nicely sculpted and painted with the transparent orange, it doesn't really rotate like the FansToys version. And then the X-Transbots version, okay, to be objectively fair, this is an older figure, so it does have a lot of issues with the figure. But I will say, you know, they do their best to try to make a nice product with the chrome-plated arms and some paint and stuff, and then these extra accessories like the handgun, which doesn't really help to improve the figure, but you know, that's just their attempt to try to produce a good figure. And then the main Hasbro mainline retail from the War for Cybertron, and there's just so many things that just doesn't look good about this, in my opinion, but I'll leave it at that. And then the Mech FansToys version, which is really nice. I mean, look at how they tried to capture a lot of the cartoon accurate details. I mean, that is what I noticed that they tend to do. They do tend to sculpt in a lot of the cartoon accurate detail. And then the previous Hasbro mainline retail, the Combiner Wars, which is just a repaint retool, the Chug version, which is really cool. Pretty amazing for an old figure. iGear was doing some pretty nice figures. And then the original G1, and then again the New Age version. So that's a look at the other versions of pipes. Okay, here's a look at pipes in his alt mode. So let's take a closer look and see all the nicely sculpted, cartoon accurate detail. Really nice. No paint back here, but that's understandable. Nice chrome wheels, transparent headlights, really nice. So now let's just quickly compare this with the animation model and see how well they captured the cartoon aesthetics. You know, I'll just say proportionately speaking, I think FansToys did a better job on making a better looking vehicle. So that's look at the vehicle mode, and now let's compare this with the other versions of pipes. So let's take a closer look here. We can see this is Bad Cube's version. I don't think it cleans up really well here, but I could tell you when transforming this, this was more intuitive than the X-Transbots version. I'm gonna try to keep my comments very limited, otherwise I'll just go rambling on and on, but there's a look at that. And then here is X-Transbots version, and I'm just gonna say that, you know, this is an older figure, so that definitely explains why there's so many issues with it. I mean, you could see that they try to do some nice things such as the chrome and the paint and stuff, but you know, it really comes down to form and function and solving the problem of, you know, designing a really good transformer. And here's a look at the mainline retail, the War for Cybertron. And again, I'm just gonna leave it at that. This is mainline retail, so that's why it looks the way it does. And then before that, this is the FansToys version of pipes in his alt mode, and this is actually really nice. And then the previous mainline retail, I think this was Combiner Wars or something. Yeah, this is what it is. And then here is the Chug version by iGear. This is actually a really nice figure also. And then the original G1. So this is where it all comes from, which is always cool because it's very nostalgic. And then waiting to get the New Age version. So there's a look at all of the other versions of pipes. I know there's probably a Iron Factory, and I didn't get that for my own reasons. But anyways, this is a look at the vehicle mode. So now let's transform it back to robot mode and have our final thoughts. Okay, to transform pipes into robot mode, first untab the pipes from the back here. They'll just fall to the ground. And then on the bottom here, we want to bring down these wheels and then pull these out, lift these up so that we have room here to pull out the arms like so. And then we can go ahead and bring down the back part of the cab here and lift it up. And now from here, these sides, you can go ahead and pull back and do it on both sides. And then we can go ahead and start pulling this forward so we can lift this up. And then here's head. Let's bring it down. And now we can rotate. Let's come up here. We could rotate these doors, so to speak, 90 degrees, and then rotate them in and push it in up there. Same thing on this side. Rotate the door 90 degrees, rotate it in, and push it in from up here. Okay, then we can go ahead and bring down this tabbing piece. It's going to go into the back and bring it down and through to the bottom back here. And once we do, then we can go ahead and close that up and drop this down to the back, and here the bottom. You can see where this is supposed to go. Bring this down and try to get that tab. Find the tab, find the slot, line it up and tab it in. like so. And then we can go ahead and push back his head and his arms. We can go ahead and fix his arms, which are very easy. Just open this up, close it, and then bring it up and tab it in. And you can rotate his hand 90 degrees so they're facing forward. Do the same thing on this side. Well, this already came untabbed. And then go ahead and tab it in onto his forearms. Rotate this hand. And now we got these hands done. Now we can just go ahead and lift up these tire pieces. Just to show you, it is a little tab there. It's kind of hard to see, but it goes into a little groove there, so you just kind of push it up, tab it in basically. And now we have his arms done, but let's fold up his arms so that we can get him out of the way. And now we can start working down here. Lift up these front hip skirts like so, and then this is a little bit hard here, but you want to lift out these sides hip skirts as well. And once you do that, that should allow you to split these legs open to an A stance so that we have access to the inner part of the legs. Lift up this panel lock here on both sides. And this side's a little hard because the tolerance is really tight, and I may have to go off camera just to lift that up because the tolerance is really tight. Okay, so that right there is one of the issues with the tolerance. It's kind of hard to untab it, but once you do, then you could rotate the foot on the ankle rocker so you have room to bring down the foot. Do it on both sides, and then ankle rocker, and then bring down the foot. And now we can go ahead and drop down this inner part of the leg on both sides so that we can go ahead and extend down the legs here, which is on a double hinge, and tab it up to the knee area. But you have to make sure that you get this really flush right here. You can't have it like this, otherwise you won't be able to lift this back up and close in the locking panel there. Rotate this foot back, and this one tends to move, so you kind of have to hold the bottom part of the foot here to straighten out his foot. Do the same thing on this side. You want to bring out the foot, and like I said, the knee area, you have to make sure you get it flush so that you could lift this back up, drop down the locking panel here, rotate the foot back, and lift the foot up. And again, this foot, you want to keep it straight, and then we can just drop down the hip skirts and get his arms back down. And now we have Pipes in his robot mode. If I can rotate his hand here. So pretty easy transformation. It's just the issues are with the tolerance. There are just some areas are really tight, like I was telling you right here, at least on mine. Some areas are really loose, which is on mine, but it may be also this batch of QC number 21. But yeah, other than that, transformation is pretty easy and straightforward, very intuitive, actually fun. Other than just fussing with the issues with the tolerance. So yeah, there's Pipes back in his robot mode. Okay, my final thoughts on this figure. I really like this figure, even though there are issues with it, with the tolerance. Some areas being tight and some areas like right here being really loose. And I just think, you know, maybe that happened because they were maybe in a rush to try to get this figure produced. But anyways, other than that, this is obviously a really nice looking figure, very cartoon accurate, feels good, feels solid, nice die cast, good amount of articulation. So yeah, it's just your typical premium figure by FansToys. And so yeah, all I have to say is I really like this figure. I don't give recommendations because if you want it, you'll get it. If you don't, you won't. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about the figure, and I'm really looking forward to getting the swerves and completing the Season 3 mini-bots. So great figure, and yeah, just looking forward to the rest of the figures.
We've got to install this fast.
Faster, Pipes! Faster, 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 faster! You gotta work faster, because if you don't, Triplicon's gonna stop us, and then where will we be?
Blur, shut up! Done.